basic skills which is going to help you to build it later on, whatever you want to make it, to the higher class level. So always we're going to go back to the safety. And I want to start this saying, about real estate is all about location, 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 right? I call this one safety, safety, safety. This is so important because many times you forgetting about the safety and you presume the kids is okay. And the next thing happens, it's so dangerous, they can break hand so easily. So we're going to start from the basic, which is straight jumps. Straight jumps are so important. You think it's, straight jumps, everybody can do it. But if you see the kid comes first time, they all over the places. And that's the point, my point, because they all over the places. And even you use the mat, they fall, and the first thing, what they do, they put the hand. And that's what happens. And, I'm trying to tell them, it's like, okay, I know you can jump, but it's not only here in this gym, you're learning not to put the hand and protect yourself. But this is something when you're going to be in the park playing, you're learning how to protect yourself. So this is the most important for them, being outside. So starting with the straight jumps, and I'm starting a lot of things, the basic skills on the trampoline, I'm doing actually in the warm-up. And you're going to be like, you have 5 minutes, how you can do this? Yes, because all the exercise I do, I tell them, this you can use in the trampoline. So we're talking about when you do a warm-up arm circle, because that's how you jump on the trampoline. You teach them how to jump arm circle. So I'm starting, okay, arm circle. And if you look sometimes, the kid's going like this. And right away, I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's start it right away backwards. Get this habit, because the habit is so important. And then even, you teach them like this, you start to jump arm circle, right? And then what happened, you see the kids comes on the trampoline and does this. And really, so that's why I always, in the warm-up, we do the shoulders because it's so important for the trampoline, warm up your shoulders. I'm always teaching, start it going backwards. Then we can go forward, but always going backwards. So that's the first thing, teach, nice straight jumps. When you have a little guys, I always recommend put the mat when you see the kid is unbalanced. So basically doesn't feel the balance, jumps one foot, the other foot. Put the mat. It's not only, safe for him when he falls, but, it doesn't scratch himself. And for little guys, if you put the mat, I'm saying this is island. Try to stay on the island. You've got the sharks around. So basically, they try to stay on this mat because what they do, they jump all over the trampoline, right? So the most important, they're starting to feel comfortable bouncing. And that's really, really important to learn every single skill on the trampoline, to feel balanced, to feel your body on the trampoline. So then you can teach without any kind of fear that they're going to do something silly. Of course they will. So I'm talking about straight jumps, arms going up and sideways. So you're trying to teach them, and of course you're trying to tell them to stay more in the middle, on the cross. Of course it's going to be hard, but try to go up and stay. And then when you're learning this, try to teach them how to stop. So basically what we say, freeze, bend your knees. So they're trying to stop, and then again, safety, walk off. You see the kids, they're so happy, excited, and they're just jumping off the trampoline. And then it's not only, they might not land on both feet, but the kids are sitting in front of them, and they don't control this, they're gonna land on them. So that's why it's so important, freeze, bend your knees, walk off, and wait for another person, only one person on the trampoline, unless it's coach is helping. But make sure that they understand that you have to stay until this person leaves. And a couple times happens that actually I explain the reason, because it's like, why? So, Mr. Nooney. So I explain very easily with them. I hold the hands, and it's like, that's the reason. Try to bounce really slow, and I give a little push. You see, and the kids are, and I said, that's the reason. So if you step on the trampoline, somebody's there, you're going to push it, you're going to give extra bounce, and this person might get injured. So I'm always trying to explain the reason. It's not just, you cannot do this because that's safety. They want to have fun, but explain why, so they understand, and it's like, okay, makes sense. This old guy, actually, he tells the truth. So that's what I'm trying to teach. So next thing, I'm teaching, straight jumps, hands down. We call this soldier, which is important, again, because you're learning balance on the trampoline, awareness, again, where you are on the trampoline. And that's my opinion. I'm always saying, look on the trampoline. Most kids, they look in front. Why I'm telling you to look at the trampoline? Because sometimes, you're falling, and when you look over there, you don't know where you're falling. You might fall on the side. And then we're going to come back to the safety again. So I want you to see where you're falling so you can protect yourself. So that's why next one is straight hands. Hands next to your body, we call soldiers. And make sure they can jump a lot of the stuff, because at the same time, they're learning how to be really tight. The third is hands up. But this has to come after a while. Of course, they have to know how to jump arm circle. They have to feel comfortable, because this one, if you're going to see, even the older kids, they have a problem to jump. They like this. They jumping like this, and I've seen it. And this position actually is very important when at the end of this presentation, I'm going to teach you front somersault. And that's very important position. Jump from here, hands up, and then jump. And then if you see them, they're learning, they can't even come to the mat because they like this. And they don't have a balance, but they're trying to do somersault. And what happens, they don't have a balance, sometimes they go under, so instead landing on the mat, they might go here. So that's going to be another safety I'm going to tell you, to be there. So that's why, that's the third position, hands up, and try to jump, and try to stay, again, as much as you can on the cross. And very good exercise with this one, to keep the hands straight, because what they do, they bend the hands. Sometimes they hold the hands. It's like, no, you have to keep hands straight. So put the cubic in. So they hold it. And they have to, or they can put on the head as well, and jump with this. And with this one, what they do, because you have, let's say, group of the kids, and what they do, it's like, they come to the other one and they do this. And I'm always saying, please, pass it. Don't throw it. So I'm always teaching them, not only, the safety with this, because it's soft, but try to just pass it. Give it to another one, not throwing. So that's another thing with this stuff. So moving forward, when we have already nice jumps, again, coming back to warm-up. I'm teaching position, so I'm not coming back. Tuck, pike, straddle. So which is really easy, because, you teach them, and try to teach from the beginning the right habit. Tuck position, hands below your knees. You see many times kids that are doing, put their hands like this. I'm like, are you in the park? You having a sandwich? I'm like, oh no. So I'm trying to explain again, you keep those hands, because you're going to learn flipping. They call flipping because, not somersault, but, you're going to flip. Okay. So I'm teaching the right positions from the beginning. So then tuck, we can rock around. And I'm talking about, like, besides front tuck, you're going to learn back tuck. So I'm saying back tuck, front tuck. See, that's very, very easy. Then next position, pike, stretching. So we stretch, touching toes, straight legs. I'm saying this is pike position on the trampoline. Of course, they're forgetting, but once you're going to be teaching them on the trampoline, they're going to remember this. So touch your toes, touch the pike, and hands up. And touch your toes, and hands up. Being in this position, you right away can use it. Proper sit position, sit drop on the trampoline. You're just going to say, hands next to your booty. And that's the sit drop. That's just during the warm-up. Then open your legs, stretch to the left one, go around to the right one, and then go forward. You know how you call this position? I almost forgetting. Straddle, but now when you go chest to the floor. Pancake. That's right. So I'm trying this, and then I'm saying, try to touch your toes. That's straddle. And most of you know this game. We play with the kids. Tuck. So they're looking at the coach. Straddle. Tuck. Straddle. Pike. And then I try to do tuck because you were talking. Oh, and they're having fun. But that's how they're starting to get this right idea what the skill is all about. So this is really important game. So as you see already, during the warm-up, you're already teaching, other stuff and the safety. The same way, I'm teaching them, doggy position. I mean, most of the time you say to the little kids, doggy, and they go there, woof, 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 woof. I'm like, no. So I'm saying, you have to be forward. I'm showing them right position so they can look at me. And at the same time, I mean, sometimes you have to correct them. So tell them on the hands, on the knees, and most of the time I'm just, okay, this is doggy position. And then they're trying to play, woo, woo. They're trying to walk. And I was like, no, now we're going to try to kick your leg. Try to kick your straight leg. So they're forgetting, about that this is doggy position. But they're trying, to do a little stretching. Of course, the leg is bent, but they forget, but they already know doggy position. So that's another thing. When you come to the trampoline, you teach doggy position. So basically, always use the mat. I know some kids, I can do it. I mean, I know you can do it, but why scratch yourself or injure? So the same doggy, they do on the mat, and you tell them, try to bounce the same time, hands and the legs. Even, as a coach, you can try to help him just a little bouncy, so they can bounce, so they can feel position. And remember, very important, as you see, a lot of kids, they do like this. And moving forward, when they're going to learn sit doggy forward roll, that's really dangerous. And I'm going to come back to this again. Safety, safety, safety. So make sure they know the proper position, bouncing. So that's another skill when they learn, of course, during the warm-up. And it's very fast, but when you repeat this every warm-up and little different sequence, add something funny, they really get into the right habit. So when you're coming to the trampoline, you're going to say, okay, we're going to do, let's say, sit drop. And they know more or less. Doggy, they know how is the doggy. So all this stuff I'm teaching them in the warm-up. Moving forward, we did sit, and then remember, you can remind them as well, another safety. There's the 2 times, and this is so important. You put your hands on the trampoline. When you do sit drop, so when the hands are next to your booty, you do sit drop, and always say straight legs, because they do sit drop like this. Bend legs, and so try to tell them straight legs, and push from your hands, try to stand up. That's the 1 time when you put your hands, and the 2nd time when you do doggy. So not hands, but knees and hands at the same time. So that's the only 2 times. And always try to remind them, don't put your hands when you fall forward, or especially when you're going to teach, and we're going to talk about this back drop, because sometimes they have a little fear. They're going to the back. Oh, no, I don't want to do. And they put the hands. So that's why I'm going to say what we're going to do, teaching back drop, until they feel comfortable, so we can use some other stuff. But that's those 2 things, always remind. And of course, one more safety as well. It's for little kids, it's really hard to remember. And even for big kids, we've seen this. When you jump and you feel like you're falling out of the trampoline, always pay attention. Try to, if they do this incorrectly, try to correct them, explain to everybody. I'm always stopping class and like, listen, this person did this. They're falling 1 foot on the safety and the other on the trampoline. And I'm always stopping whole class and I'm showing. It's like, it's nothing wrong you did, it happens. But for everybody, remember, this is so dangerous. You're going to blow your knee or do something wrong. I'm not talking about you. So remember, it's so important. That's another thing. And then, of course, you're going to teach them, that they can turn, always put both feet when you land, always. And the same, again, coming off the trampoline, they like to jump and they just put 1 foot and then step. No, walk off, don't jump. So that's another safety, and always try to pay attention, because, again, I'm saying you can repeat, tell them, and then always sometimes comes back to them, and that, 1 time takes 1 time. It's unpredictable. So now, if we know, sit, then you can teach sit, doggy, and stomach. So what you can do, sit, remember, again, you can tell them, stay on the mat, and always, teach those new stuff on the mat. Why? I know, you can jump, but because the trampoline can push you higher, and that's, again, dangerous. So once they learn, they learn, you feel it, okay, I know you're safe, then you can say, take the mat off. So what you do is sit, and then remember, they have to push, land, hands, and the knees the same time. Always the same time. And then, from this sit doggy, it's easy to stomach, when they land. And again, remember warm-up? When I do warm-up, we have on the stomach going to do seal position, because that's everybody's, you saying, we have to do the seal position, and they're making noises, and this, it's going to be helpful for your bridge. And at the same time, when you're lying on the stomach, I'm explaining. So you put your elbows outside. Don't put hand on hand, because this looks like you're reading a book at home. So try to open more hands. But those hands, they're protecting your chin. Try to keep your head really tight. And when you land, elbows outside, head up. And I'm saying this is stomach drop. That's what we're going to do on the trampoline. And again, this is like few seconds, just explain, hold it. And then once you repeat, they're going to get this habit. And that's going to help them a lot, on the trampoline. So that's the first sequence, basically, then they learn. Of course, we're not talking about top pike straddle because that's much easier. So when they go sit, doggy, tummy, keep your head. And if they can come, you're saying use your hands, push, stand up. And many times happens when they do stomach drop. When we're going to come back to the stomach, but even go to the stomach, the hands are like this. And I'm calling, this is kind of like a doggy on elbows. Open your elbows outside so they have to lie down flat and keep your chin. So this is another thing very important. Or, I don't know if you noticed, they're trying to do push-ups. They land like this, like, please, why? Because you might injure your shoulder. Or the last one, this is my favorite one, when they jump and the head is so loose and they're like this. And I'm saying, why are you kissing the mat? You like it? And I'm like, no, okay, so keep your chin, okay. So that's kind of little things, but this is so important. So sit, doggy, stomach, they already know how to do it. Up again. And all the time, we do the doggy position and kick the leg. So that's the warm up your leg, but they're getting this right position. The habit, remember, all the time on the trampoline, you have to teach the right habit. Because if they're going to get bad habit, it's going to catch you later. And you're going to try to teach some stuff, and that's going to come that they're going to have a problem. And that's going to be more safety problem than even, they're going to be able to do it. But they're going to do twice, and the third time, they're going to fall and they're going to injure themselves. So that's why, that's what I said, if they sit too much, at the beginning, even, in the practice, in the warm-up, make sure they have a nice doggy position. But remember, at the beginning of what I said, when you teach doggy, so that they're on the mat, I said that's when they learn to bounce the same time. So that's the first step. So not like, go sit and doggy right away. Bouncing. So I said the same time, knees and the hands, and you can be next to it and help a little bit so it's easier, for them. And that's how they're starting to correct themselves. Lay down your back, please. I don't know if you're going to see this. Let me push this away. So I'm teaching them, this is very important because many times happens, and that's what happens again for the front somersault when I'm going to talk. The injury is the most common, knee hits the face. And it's like I'm explaining, when you're going to do this, knee is going to hit your eye, nose, or lip, teeth, you can, and I'm saying, if Halloween is not in the corner, don't do it because, hey. But anyway, now I'm just trying to tell them, so they're not scared because you're telling them, I'm like, no, but they do this way. So what I'm trying to always teach when you're talking about this, bend your legs, bend your legs. So, usually what happens, they don't think about it. They so relax and the knees hitting face. And with this exercise, what we're talking about, and even pull over, tie your knees, really tight. So I'm trying to push. No, you don't do nothing. Just tie your knees, don't do nothing. Don't move your knees. So hold your knees, see? I'm like saying, see, when your knees are tight like this, you're never gonna hit your face. And then you can roll. So the same, this is for back drop pull over, and the same is for back talk. But you have to teach them this habit. This, because if they don't remember, you are too tight, my friend. They really, they go and their knees are just pop, and we have a problem. And believe me, I'm telling all the time about the safety, and a couple times happen. Everything is good. All of a sudden they land. I'm just not talking about front. All these little things I'm mentioning over here, this is so important. So they're going to get this habit. It's like I'm saying, you have to know. It's like when you wake up in the morning, you're not rolling off the bed, falling to the floor. It's already habit. You put your legs, you stand up and you go. So it's the same here. You won't think what you have to do because the habit is there, but the right habit. And that's going to help you because that's why you want to have this right habit. So the kids are progressing, safe way, and they safe and you are safe. Again, I said at the beginning, so important, straight jumps. Again, I'm coming back to this straight jumps because if you want to teach front somersault, back somersault, they have to know how they jump. They have to be aware of the space and where they are. Because if they don't have a perfect jumps, they might have idea about how to do flip. But if they don't jump properly, that's going to go against them. And again, one time takes it, and then they're going to injure you, they're going to injure themselves. So we're going to move on. But coming back to stomach drop, They know already how to do the stomach drop, and remember, you have to remind them, open elbows, keep the head really tight, don't kiss the mat. That's important. When we come to teaching standing stomach drop, tell them first, don't try to bounce, because you tell them stomach drop and they're going to try to bounce. So from standing, the first important thing, when you see them, you put the mat, they standing here. Always ride the weight and tell everybody, wait, find the center of the mat. That's where you have to stand. So in the middle of the mat, and your stomach has to land where your feet are. This is the most easy, simple explanation. Because what they do, if they stand in front of the mat, I call this volleyball diving. They jump forward really far. And believe me, the chest touch the mat, legs going up. That's what I'm saying. And they go to the bridge. Of course, the young, they don't feel it, but I'm saying my back is already hurting. So that's most common thing what they do. If you tell them stomach drop, you put the mat, that's what they do. They really jumping forward, and most of the time the chest goes first, legs going up. So if they stand in the middle and they know this part of the body has to land where the feet are, they're trying to go up. But you have to mention it. Lift your booty up as well. Because what they do, they're trying to land with the stomach, but the first feet landing like this, and then they roll like this. So you have to mention, standing, try to lift your booty up, and then go to the stomach.
So you just want me to go to my stomach?
Yeah. See? Even he comes and starts to bounce. No, from standing. Yeah, you can do like this, but I said just lift your booty up. So you can just stand, you go up.
I think I'm doing something wrong.
No, that's okay. But that's the idea. That's the idea. So remember, once you're going to see they're starting to be comfortable, and you see, the hands are positioned, everything is good, you can tell them you can bounce, and now they go the same, they go up, and they go to the stomach. But again, remind them all the time that you have to land the same spot. But because even they know what they're doing, happens they jump, and then all of a sudden then dive forward. And that's what happens, chest and the legs going behind them. And this skill is going to help you if they know how to do stomach drop. Of course, we talk about the twisting, and we talk about, Brody was talking about, and the trampoline is the same rules. The leg, dominant leg or hand for cartwheel. That's the way you're supposed to twist. And I call this, and actually, Lauren knows, that's the chocolate side from snowboarding, or that's what they call chocolate side. The one when you twist really good, and the other one, you can twist both ways, but one is so easy. And you see it. One way, they're trying to do full twist, and they're like this. And then they go other way, and the perfect straight body, they don't even think about it. So with the twisting is, again, when you start, I'm always saying, stay on the mat, try on the mat, look where you're going, because when you're going off the mat, you're going to know you're going on the mat, you can protect yourself. So that's very important. So after stomach, you can teach half-turn stomach drop, which called aeroplane, full twist to the back. So again, from all these basics, when you have the basics to build other stuff, there's no problem. But the safety and the right habit is very important. Next one is back drop. And back drop, I recommend use cubic all the time at the beginning. Why? Again, you tell them stay in front of the mat. Why? Because if they fall to the mat, I don't want them to stay in the middle and then fall and the head hits the trampoline. So when you have a space, but without this, and I've seen it, they jump so far back. And some of them, I've seen it almost do somersault. Because they jump back, they land almost on the neck, and then you just go over. Of course, it's so scary, but because, they think, oh, I'm jumping to the back, so they're really throwing themselves. So at the beginning, the same idea when you do to the stomachs, from standing before the mat, to get the cubic in front of you, straight hands, make sure the straight hands and the eyes laser focus on it. So when you fall, you just fall to the back and look at the cubic. And at the beginning, again, I'm not telling lift your legs up, whatever, just get the fear away from you when you fall into the back, because when we talk with Lauren, what they do when they trying to fall to the back, they scare, or even they fall like this, even with the cubic, because they have fear. So that's why I'm not talking about legs, because, they're going to think about legs. And even, short, they're going to try to pull the legs, they're going to do somersault to the neck. So just fall to the back. Once they're comfortable, they can start it slowly, a little bit more bouncing. Look at the cubic. Then when they feel, you see they're pretty good, you can tell them leave your legs up, and you can explain on the mat, your legs should be a little bit up and the hands in front of you. So that's the very important part, teaching back drop. So when they're standing, look at the cubic. When they bear it, they look at the cubic, go up, look at the cubic, push forward. Standing up, I noticed a lot of kids try to stand up arching. Tell them just to keep upper body so you can stand up natural. Because when they go from the trampoline, they try to do this arch like this. Try to tell them keep natural upper body stands up. So kind of like you have a feet on your back, push from the back, keep your tummy so you can stand up. So you just bring your upper body forward. So that's another very important thing, teaching back drop. Once they have a back drop, you can start to teach back drop pullover, and that's a big step as well when we talk for the back talk. It's when you teaching front somersault, they should have a really nice forward roll. You're gonna ask me why? Because front somersault is kind of like a front roll in the air. But if you notice, when they do forward roll and it's something like this, and most of the time they have front roll like this. You see my hands? I call this grandma front roll. Because what happens, they're putting hands. And most of the time, the first phase of front somersault is really good. And they get stopped, like somebody stopped them and they're falling down. And that's when they're falling on the booty, knees, and the head hits. So the head is very important. Second of all, front roll. And you start trying to teach them. Is when you finish forward roll, and you can even show, you have to finish forward and stand up, hands forward. So when you pull it, speed up and hands forward. That's the second part of the front somersault. When they understand this, believe me, they won't have any problems with the front somersault. Because they know how to speed up. They know how to keep the head. Even sometimes they slow, but at the same time, they know how to do it. And talking about the rotation, because you noticed sometimes they go up, nothing happens, no reaction. And what happens? They fall down. So basically, I'm going to be shown like this. But that was still good. They go up and they're going back on their head because there is no rotation. My simple explanation is I'm taking two cubics and I'm saying, look, this is you. That's what you're supposed to do. So they see visually they should spin around fast. So that's, you always have to remind them. Remember about your head and rotation. Now we were talking about straight jumps. Remember what I said? That comes really handy for this one. When the hands up and you really have to have, because you have to tell them now you push, go up, hands going really fast to your legs and you have to pull them. That's when, and the safety of course head. Because when they do front somersault, when they tight, they go somersault, right, be tight. See, my head is tight. That's what they do. But this is safe. Soft mat, if this is too hard, you can put extra mat. This is safe. But then you explain them this forward roll, so they're starting to land forward. And they're starting to land. And the last part, you notice many times what happens. And I'm really happy when they land and they go forward, right? Because then they're starting to have rotation. But my idea is like, Mr. Dennis, please. And this is the last thing for the front somersault. Bend your legs, more. And now what they do, they land and sit. That's what they do. Or they fall, bend your legs, and they fall forward. That's what they do. And I'm asking, okay, bend your legs. Don't let me push you down. No, don't let me push you. So they're really standing really tight. And I'm saying, that's what you have to do when you land from somersault. And believe it or not, they do from somersault. Even they land like this and they stay. And they stand up. I'm like, they look so surprised. This really helps. Because, that's like human body is built. They land and they're so soft and they just fall. It's like, why? Why are you falling? So land, stay on the legs. So that would be the last part. Of course, Amaya did really good today. Teaching, because, personally, I don't like to teach them like a back talk or front talk to the pit. But if you like to do this, this is very good, important when you're teaching to the pit. What Amaya did with the little kids, you hug this cubic, that's your best friend. You have to hold it. And you flip with this. Why? Because when they flip, they're going to hit this instead your knee. So that's really important thing when you're teaching to the pit. Again, teaching to the pit, like Nick was saying, or Brody, is so important. You spot them and let them know, push it back. Because what Brody said is, they go, and what happens? Head hit this edge. And that's another big safety. So at the beginning, try to help them understand, because they go at the edge, what they do, they pull the knees here, and they go reverse, they go under, head hits this, and I've seen it. So that's another, with the back talk. But when you help them at the beginning, like you saying, you just, so many times they understand this, there's no problem with back talk. So sometimes, even for the front somersault, it's funny, I teach them, I try to tell them to show forward roll uphill, which is kind of hard. But when they're gonna try this many times and they're starting to understand, they have fun, because this is something different. And they really speed up at the end of finishing. Believe me or not, the front somersault becomes really easy. And the same with the back roll. You can teach back roll other way around, uphill. So you have to bring your legs fast, because back talk is all about rotation again. Sometimes they go up and then they freeze. And when you're not big or strong enough, that's when you have a problem. So they have to know this rotation. So that's why all these basics helps a lot. So remember, I was talking about all these basics, and those basics you bring in later on, believe me, they work really good. And you don't have to, like Lauren says, you don't have to be there personally, basically. They can do on their own. Just the basics. Basics with the safety. And from this, you can start it, to build your stuff, the one you're talking about, knowing the safety, the most important. And that's always safety around. Even the kids, I can do it without the mat. If you're talking about the shoulder, use the mat at the beginning, always. That's why it's so important, that when they do all this basic stuff, they learn how to control their body, the body awareness in the air. So instead, they jump, like I said, they started to go and they go like this. They really starting to control. That's why the straight jumps, they already control the head. They don't jump like this. So they getting all those muscles work out too. Even, straight jumps like this, the body is straight. So when they have a nice straight jumps, believe me, all the other stuff's going to come much easier, because they have already the body awareness. They know where they are.